joining us for this edition of Talkin Kids Health. I'm Beatrice Canals. Joining me today is Dr. Reshma Naidoo. She is the Director of the Cognitive Neuroscience here at Nicklaus Children's Hospital and the Brain Institute. Thank you for being with us, Doctor.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about our programming.
Well, we're so excited today because we'll be reaching a larger audience, hopefully. We are actually multicasting on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, so
I'm glad.
We're trying to reach out to as many viewers as possible to bring you this very important information. Today we'll be talking about brain wellness. What exactly is brain wellness?
Brain wellness is a new burgeoning field where for a long time we were focusing on the physical, what we could do and how we could train the body to do whatever it is. So think about brain wellness as your brain gym that you would have for an elite athlete who trains their body, but this time we're looking at the brain. So our technology has reached a point, and our understanding of the brain has reached a point where we can marry technologies like TMS, EEG, neurofeedback, direct interventions to increase brain functioning.
And so when it comes to the brain wellness program that you have here, how does the program work? What does it entail?
So our program takes a lot of the same concepts of brain wellness, where we're looking at the cutting edge science. So we have a huge component that is science-based, where we're doing research into all of these technologies, and we have programs rolling out. We have a neurofeedback program. We're looking at neuromodulation. We have direct interventions that we have as part of our neurorehabilitation programming, which are directed towards patients who have had some severe brain injury or some insult to their brain and help them regaining function. Our focus has been not on pushing the boundary to see how creative you can be or how to maximize your intelligence and get to an IQ of 200. That's what the rest of the world's doing. Ours is to take our children who are really struggling, trying to figure out how we can take our very compromised children who have had some sort of an insult and to lead them towards their maximum potential. In our children, if we do things to them and help them get better, we're moving from an area of disability to ability. And that's what we're shooting for in our brain wellness program.
And I love that you compared it early on to athletes, for example, that we seem to give so much importance, and rightfully so, in training athletes and keeping them healthy. But as far as the brain, it's so important to dedicate yourself to that as well.
Absolutely.
And that's what this program does.
And we really foster the same ethic. You work really hard at it. It is a task. The harder you work at doing things with your brain, the more likely you are to improve it. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just grow by itself. And you have to have a healthy lifestyle. One of the most amazing pieces of research that came out recently, which I take to personally, I grew up in a culture where we felt sleeping less was more. And it was something we bragged about because this is how you got to be high achieving. Unfortunately, all of the research has shown that the more sleep you have and the higher quality sleep you have, the more restorative it is. And actually, it's it actually does produce higher intellectual potentials. So I've been doing something wrong for a very long time.
But you're finally getting it right now.
Yes.
And you're helping our children get it right.
Absolutely. So I cannot stress how important it is to have a good night's sleep and to make sure sleep is restful.
When it comes, so you're mentioning sleep, but there are as well so many components to this program when it comes to achieving brain wellness. Yoga classes, for example. Tell me about the benefits and the importance of that.
Yoga encompasses several different dimensions. So one is the movement component. We know that bodies that move aren't moving in isolation of the brain. We're using our brain to do that. We also know that during yoga you have periods where you are quiet and meditative. One of the biggest challenges we have is finding that restful spot where we stop and we allow our brain to grow and develop the way it does. And that's what we get from yoga. We also have the interaction between mind and body, trying to control your body to reduce some of those symptoms of agitation and inattention that you learn through yoga. So it's a good way to integrate the mind-body connection. And there is a lot of evidence to indicate that this is an adjunctive part, or it supports brain development.
You mentioned, we spoke before we got started today, and something that you mentioned that I thought was really interesting is the importance and the connection when it comes to brain wellness to nutrition and diet.
Oh, absolutely.
That's part of your program as well, correct? You
Yes,
help
it is.
families and children achieve better nutrition?
Nutrition has been part of what the brain wellness movement nationally is doing. They look at a lot of the micronutrients and how phytochemicals impact brain development. We know memory can be improved with superfoods. There's a huge component with the brain-gut connection, where inflammatory diseases can be controlled. We also know that there's a lot of research that's coming out right now to talk about the link with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So with our children, we try to foster good lifestyles and eating healthily, but there are specific diets. For example, with the epilepsy program, specific populations benefit from a ketogenic diet. That's a high-fat diet. ADHD populations, some children benefit from low sugar, high carbohydrate diets. Low sugar, low carbohydrate, high protein diets. So these are very specific things that are tailored for each individual. We know there's zinc associated with sleep, magnesium associated with sleep, and those are all the different aspects we're looking at.
And so all of this wealth of information that you have now, that thankfully we have, you share this with the families of the children who participate in the program, correct, who need this help?
We do. We share it with the families, we share it with the physicians, we share it with caregivers. Our hope is that through this process and programming, we'll reach out to school systems and the community at large.
An exciting part of this program that you're working on now to develop as well is movement, correct?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So that's one of the landmark, most exciting programs we have. I'm very excited about that because a lot of the children we get come in and they're either extremely anxious or they're hyperactive. This is just one of those consequences of visiting a hospital very often. What we found that with the movement program, you can use these modalities to change the context of why you come to a hospital. So we have a program that's in process or in progress where it's using dance movements to engage children and transform the purpose of why they come to the hospital. Children come in looking forward to participating in our activities rather than saying, oh, we're going back to a hospital again, and yes, it's going to be another blood draw, I'm going to have an invasive procedure. And if you can tie it in with something pleasurable, it increases compliance, it makes the experience better, and we actually include the family. So it's the child, the caregivers, siblings, whoever comes to the hospital. And you know this is Miami, so we don't just get mom and the child, but we get grandma and the uncles coming along.
The extended family.
Yes.
There's a beauty to that, correct?
Absolutely.
Because I imagine the support that the children feel when they have that participation from their family as well, that support. I think it's, when it comes to this program, who can benefit from it? Who is it available to?
It's available to our community. The Brain Wellness Program is actually one of those that we don't confine to any structure. We open it up to anyone in the community that wants to participate in it. We have free programming or minimal cost. A couple times a week we have yoga programming at the Michael Fuchs Center, which is no charge attached to it.
Oh, wonderful.
Programming that we have coming up ahead would be the movement program, and that too doesn't have any cost attached to it. This is part of us giving back to our community and trying to reach out to them.
Oh, how wonderful. And thanks to some generous sponsors as well, correct?
This entire program is riding on the backs of our generous sponsors, so we're very grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to them.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add about the Brain Wellness Program for anyone watching us now that perhaps their child did suffer some form of injury and they've been struggling with this, and there is this wonderful opportunity for them to get help?
We have a variety of different options that were never available before. We're able to work with individuals, with groups, with families, both directly and indirectly, to reach out to them and to change that path that they were going down, or the trajectory. We intervene by doing neurorehabilitation. These are one-on-one group programs where you're with similar age, similar diagnosis patients or children. We have programming for just any child who wants to be part of this, to figure out how to increase where you're at and how to take you to where you need to be.
I'd like to know from your perspective in working with these children, what is it like when you see the difference it makes in their progress, in their well-being?
Oh, very enlightening and rewarding. One of my most amazing moments this year was at the end of we had one child who had selective mutism, who never wanted to talk to anyone, and during the entire time, she flourished, and she did quite well. And 2 months later, she came back for a follow-up visit, and I was walking down the hallway, and she greeted me, and she threw her arms around me like I was a long-lost friend,
Oh.
and she was chatting, and it was, wow. Now that's our program.
Oh, that makes everything worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Doctor, any other advice you have for parents who are watching that they want to reach out? Is there anywhere they should call? Should just contact the hospital and let them know they're looking looking for information on the brain wellness program?
Definitely, we have a contact line. We have a dedicated phone line for this, and
We'll be
we
sure to
have
put that online
directed
for you.
contacts. It's through the Brain Institute Brain Wellness Programming. So that would be our direct contact.
You can actually log on to nicholaschildrens.org/brain, and you'll find information there as well for any information you may want concerning this topic. Anything else you'd like to add, Doctor?
Oh, we have an exciting year ahead of us. We have a series of programs. We really are going to aggressively help educate our community and reach out to them and share all of the exciting research that we have. And we're going to cover topics all the way from how do we transition when our child is potty training and dealing with those dilemmas, all the way to the transitions in life.
Transition to college, which I'll be facing pretty soon
Yes.
in August.
Yeah, and it becomes a very big issue for our parents who have children, that they have to look at issues of guardianship. Those would be
Sure.
things that we'd like to help navigate as well. So we have all of these programs.
I love
coming
that it
ahead.
isn't just for the children, but for the families as
Absolutely.
well, which we know, and we discuss this every time, whatever the topic is, how important it is to really have a group effort and bring in everyone that supports the child as part of the treatment, correct?
Yes, and it's a very holistic family community-based approach.
Wonderful.
So our Nicklaus family would like to take care of your families.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Naidoo,
you.
for being with us here today. Again, if you want any more information, all you have to do is log on to nicholaschildrens.org/brain. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you again on Talking Kids Health.